Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. Today we're going to take a look at Natasha Denona's new palette, Circo Loco. It is a colorful palette, bold colors. You could call it jewel tones, but she also has some really bright shades, bright matte shades. It's gorgeous, beautiful. I did use the shades in here to create today's look, which I will have the demo for near the end. So this palette, like all other Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes, it is made in Italy and the shelf life is 24 months. I really appreciate how consistent she is with where her products are made and the shelf life of them. And per usual, let's take a look at the website description of the product and then we can get into hand swatches. We'll also get into some comparisons. Some of you have told me this colorful palette reminds you of another recently released colorful palette by Byredo. It is the Prism palette. So we can take a look at the Prism palette. We could put this palette side by side to the Natasha Denona Trio Chrome palette. So we've got some options there to compare. The product as it reads on the website, this palette features 15 brand new shades of Natasha Denona's signature pressed and cream powder formulas, ranging from light pastels to highly vibrant pigments and pearls. Inspired by the characters of the circus, this lively and colorful collector's palette consists of three main color families: pinks, orange, and blues with purples, all of which contain ND's classic matte and metallic formulas. The palette does feature new cream powder formula from the Metropolis and Love eyeshadow palettes. It is made with the highest quality pure color pigments, dazzling chroma crystals, and luminous mineral pearls. Its buttery smooth, hydrating eyeshadow formula wears beautifully on any skin type and skin tone. Vibrant yet powerful pigmentation with rich application. Blendable, user-friendly formulas. It's formulated without talc, parabens, or phthalates. It is cruelty-free and allergen-free. I've seen some good dupes of this color story. My friend here, Rupi on YouTube, she curated from her own collection shadows that would basically replicate this color story. And I will say the shades, the tone themselves are not brand new. It's not like we haven't seen it before from other companies. But what's notable is that these are now presented in Natasha Denona's formula. If you enjoy how buttery her mattes can be, how easy her metallics are to work with, and how vibrant the color payoff of her eyeshadows are, you're going to get just that with this palette. And in addition to that, you also get the curation of her shades. Not only are these brand new shades, but they were chosen for a specific reason. It's to put all of this together. So she's put thought into how these colors actually do go together, and it's really fun to see all of the circus, colorful, inspired looks she created that are posted on her Instagram in celebration and marketing of this palette. I just think they're so mesmerizing. I keep looking at them like, I want to create more looks now. So if you're interested and you would like to see me try to recreate some of those looks, I'd be happy to do so. Just let me know in the comments section. Why don't we head on to the swatches? I will also include a video link to my friend's video where she creates within her collection a replication of this color story. First we have Fireworks, which is a vibrant orange. Then we have Razzle Dazzle, and this is a vibrant fuchsia. Acrobat is a cobalt blue matte, and that is one smooth matte shade. Snow Cone might be my favorite shade. It is a frosty sky blue. Look at that. That is what I have on my inner corners. This is Cotton Candy, and it is an icy pastel pink. Let's give it another layer. It is so pretty. It's gonna look so beautiful by itself on some skin tones. Or you could put cotton candy and add some snow cone or aerialist, which you'll see in a bit here, and just have that accent or shade right in the center of your lids. So beautiful, just gorgeous. This is Electric Royal Blue. Then we have Grin, described as a vintage gold. Has a good amount of green undertone or rust to it. Canon, a vibrant bronze. Flip is a electric medium teal. Fun to Mime is a aqua pastel blue, and it is a cream to powder formula, so it feels particularly, I guess, creamy or smooth. And it is just, look at that color payoff. It's really hard to get light mattes to have this kind of color payoff, so I think it speaks to her formula. Spiral is a metallic orange. Let's give that another application. And then we have Magic, a vibrant purple blue. This is also a cream to powder formula shade. Wow. Yes. The next is Aerialist, which I mentioned earlier. And Aerialist is a frosty pastel lavender. And I don't think this type of shade will ever get old for me. I'll never be over it. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I do have a few of these kind of frosty, purpley metallic shades, and we will compare some of those to Aerialist. Then we have Act, which is a deep, vibrant violet. So I wanted to do that a few times because it looked patchy or it skipped when I first swatched, and some of that has to do with the position, like where it is on my arm. But once I went back and I basically diffused the swatch, if you will, look how evenly it spreads. Then finally we have Joker. This is a vibrant pink. Isn't that just lovely? I love bright colors, so this palette grabbed my attention when, well, actually it was before she even announced it on her Instagram or social media. This palette was actually available before its launch date at a Sephora, I think in Romania, and one lucky person, or maybe there was a handful of people, but one lucky YouTuber purchased this palette and posted a video with swatches and her review and things like that. And I just thought the swatches were so beautiful. They were so vibrant and captivating. But even so, for someone who likes colorful things and looks, colorful palettes, I don't know right off, like it doesn't really speak to my intuition when I look at this and say, that's what I'm going to do with it. I see myself doing with it. Like I need some examples and instructions to feel confident enough to try it for you guys the first time. Now that I've done it once, I'm happy to go in and see what I can create on my own. But there are no shortages of looks that she's created that are available on Instagram. So if you are interested and maybe you haven't decided if you want this palette, definitely go check out those looks and see. And one of the nice things about the palette and the color story is that you can take any of the metallic shades, add it all over your lid, blend out, and that's your monochromatic look. So there is versatility, even though it may not seem like it or it's not intuitive what type of looks you might be able to create from it. So let's move on to some comparison swatches. This shade here from Viseart's Lila, the Petite Foule line. This is fondant, and I do find it quite similar to Aerialist. We'll swatch it right here. I do think, and I'll add another application, this is more mauve-y, and this is frostier. And it's also very bright in comparison. This shade is actually very bright on its own, but when you compare it next to Aerialist, I think Aerialist stands out more for that reason. And those who have been following this channel for some time, you've seen me take this palette out over and over again because this shade, or this type of purple frosty shade, will never get old with me. So this is from Flower Beauty. It's the Jungle Lights palette, and I'm not gonna, have it kind of perpendicular here because this shade cracked and there's product all over the place. But I think I can get a clean swatch just right off the center here of this shade. And this is Wild. Beautiful metallic with a good amount of purple undertone. So I will swatch it on the other side of my arm. This is a beautiful shade. I just want to put it all over my lids. This is also more mauve-y than frosty, but it's a standout shade. It's lovely. It is the reason why I have not decluttered this palette. It's gone very messy at this point that every time I open it, it's risky and product will get everywhere, but I haven't decluttered it because of this shade. Then we have the Byredo Prism palette. And with this palette, there are matte shades, metallics, and ones that have a glittery finish. The metallics, just like those on Natasha Denona's or in Natasha Denona's palettes, you can use them wet as well, and it will amplify the effect. Any metallic shades here, if you apply it with a finger, it will also be more intense than with the brush alone. Let me get the two side by side. And Winter here sort of stood out to me because it's bronzy. So I'll swatch it next to Canon. It's a lot different. It is softer and has a more glittery finish. The other shade that might be similar too is this pink shade called Chihuahua, and it might be similar to Joker, so let's swatch that too. This is Joker and this is Chihuahua. Definitely similar in undertone, but I would say this is more fuchsia pink-like, and this is more pink leaning. Beyond the two shades, I really don't see that much similarity between the two palettes. They are not intuitive when you look at them. Like I mentioned earlier, to me it's like, okay, what do I do with this shade and how do I put it with that? So they do invite experimentation. They're very playful palettes and color stories, if you will. Natasha Denona, and this goes right along with her palette launches. She gives a lot of instructional videos and looks you can create. We didn't get the same kind of marketing from Byredo. And I would say, in fact, Byredo is even more experimental than, or the vibe it gives off is more experimental than the Circo Loco palette. With this palette, you can find plenty of instructions and examples, guides on how to pair these different shades together, where to apply them on your lids, with what brush. So the difference is the experience, I would say. Obviously the shades, the formulas, and the finish are different, but also the experience in itself. Both are very fun and colorful, and at the end, I'll share with you which I think you might want to consider. If you're looking at both colorful palettes, I'll give my thoughts then. And finally, the other colorful Natasha Denona palette that comes to mind is Triochrome. And this was released last fall. Let me hold Circo Loco next to it. The Trio Chrome palette overall, while the color story is colorful, the shades are more subdued. And that probably is one of the reasons why it was released for the fall. The Circo Loco palette is very vibrant, and no matter if the shade is deeper or a lighter shade, it's leaning very much right into the vibrant, bright side of things. So the two are quite different. I haven't seen comments of people thinking that these two are too similar or they're the same idea. They definitely have very different experiences to them. With the Trio Chrome palette, the whole theme is centered around the multi-chromes down the center of this column, whereas the Circo Loco palette is, it's the whole thing. Create these wild, fun, colorful looks by picking just a handful of shades from here. You can pick any one of them and you could get really fun looks from it. All right, now let's head on to the demo. I'll see you guys at the end. I'm taking Fun to Mine and putting that in the crease. Then I'm adding Cotton Candy to the brow bone. Taking Snow Cone and putting that in the inner corners. Next, I'm adding Razzle Dazzle all over the center of the lid. I'm going back into Razzle Dazzle with a finger. Next, taking Acrobat, I'm putting that on the crease. I'm going to go back into Razzle Dazzle, and I'm adding it right here. We're shaping a bit of a kind of a wing out right here. And I'm just going to smooth out Acrobat right here. And in the inner corner. Using Joker, we're going to add it to the upper lash line, just about a third of the way through. And we're taking Joker, adding it onto the waterline. I'm gonna do the other side, put the rest of my makeup on, and come back for the finished look. I absolutely love this palette. The look is inspired by a look Natasha Denona created. If I didn't put a photo in the beginning of the video, I will include it now. It didn't turn out exactly the same, but I generally followed the steps that she gave on social media. The brushes I used were different, but I still really enjoy this outcome. It's not the typical gradient look that I enjoy doing, that I always do, but I just love how it's different. It challenges me to do something different with my makeup, and still in such a way that would still look nice. And I love that experience. Makeup is art, and I feel like to have this kind of inspiration is lovely, and I just love this palette. I did not have any issues working with the matte shades or the metallic shades. That's really important. It speaks to the formula. I did take off the swatches from earlier, and I want to show you guys the stain here from one of the shades. I think this is Acrobat right here. I will let you know in a future, hopefully soon, did it work video to see if this look stays vibrant and for how long. Seeing that it's so pigmented that makeup remover couldn't really get it all off, I think it's pretty promising, and I hope that's the case. I also mentioned before the demo that we would kind of look again at the Byredo palette and the Circo Loco, like which might you consider if you're thinking choosing one out of the two. The Byredo palette is beautiful. But unlike the Natasha Denona palette, there just aren't a lot of official guides or instructions on it, which is not a disadvantage of the palette itself. It just depends on ultimately the experience you want to have. I think this palette was meant to not resemble as much as possible anything else that's out in the market. So it does speak to why you don't get a lot of, this is how you create this look, and this can be, these shades can be used at this particular look. You're meant to experiment and discover them on your own. So if you're looking for something very experimental and encouraging of experimentation, I do recommend the Byredo palette. For those who want more instructional guides, and you see the looks on Natasha Denona's website or Instagram and you like them, this is the palette to choose, because right away you can go in and create any or try to recreate any of those looks. I love them all. They're so beautiful. You don't have to use the palette for those beautiful fashionable circus looks. You can actually use this for a colorful everyday look, and I am really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to popping in this shade here and then topping it with some aerialist in the inner lids, or do something that is this, or any of these two orange shades here, and then add a royal blue as my liner. Like, I really want to try that for day-to-day looks, and I just love that it's not anything Natasha Denona has done. The other thing I enjoy about her is she doesn't seem, or as of yet, I have not seen her keep on repeating themes or keep on repeating color stories. Last year we got the Glam palette that was a very cool tone palette, had a lot of grays and cool browns in it. And then prior to that, she came out with the Bronze palette, which was a lot of coppery shades, reds and orange and browns. While the whole palette looked pretty similar, it still worked because she wasn't repeating that in other palettes. And I think Circo Loco is another great example of where she's not repeating herself. And I love that. I love that about Natasha Denona. It's not always easy for every single palette release to do something that's totally unique that your brand hasn't already done. So yes, I do enjoy her products, and I absolutely love this palette. If I had to choose between the Byredo palette or Circo Loco, I think it's gonna be this one for me. I think so. I just love how the formulas work with the metallics, that you don't have to wet them and you get this like intense payoff. Yes, I do love that about her formulas. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know below if you are interested in this palette or you also got it. Some of you guys I've seen on Instagram how you absolutely love this palette as well. I share the same sentiments as you. I hope you guys are all doing well. Stay safe. Take care. Bye.